with the radio program, but we're going to continue this symposium, and we're going to revisit what we talked about just briefly an hour ago, and that was relative to topic number 4 on our agendas, funding and implementation. I wonder, Sarah, you had mentioned earlier about some emergency grants that were used for some finite initiatives along the way. Is there anything else you can share with us about that, please?
I think I would just stress to administrators as an action item is to really get in touch with the local law enforcement agencies and your other government partners to try to partner together to find those funds. Because it may not just be designated school, right? It might be designated community.
Right.
It might be designated, there's a lot of different aspects to which if we work together, we can maybe bring those dollars in. And there very well may even be private entities inside of your district that would be more than willing on a grant basis or something to work and partner with the school district to be able to bring those safety measures. Sometimes the simplest thing is to ask. And what's the worst they're going to say? Maybe no. But the possibility on school safety issues, if you're looking for dollars, is you might find people that actually say yes.
Yeah, that's a great point. Every once in a while we'll run into somebody who has a particular project or retrofit, or they want to build something new, put on an addition, and many times it comes from somebody who's an alum of the school who decides that they want to help fund it, but those are far and few between, I'm sure, as well. So would anybody else like to comment on funding at all? Melissa?
I would just like to add one thing. In Missouri, we did last year have a line item for school safety grants. First time we've had that in many, many years. Oh. And so our Center for Education Safety is administering those grants. And for those who are in Missouri who are listening to this, our General Assembly will begin debating their budget again for next fiscal year, and we sure hope that that continues because that is a critical investment. This last year was about $650,000 that was appropriated for that, and that's, while we appreciate that, it can't go very far when you have 520 districts, right, but it's good seed money, but we sure need that to continue.
Okay, great.
But if I could chip in there, again, we've already heard back with some of the districts. In a large school district, we only get up to $15,000. A medium-sized school district 10, and a small district 5. And even those large districts with $15,000, they've been able to articulate to us how that was able to get them over the hump to fund some really critical school safety-related projects. That money that we got, we spent over 2/3 of it. We put it out in the form of grants to our school districts, and then we kept a little bit less than 1/3 for CES operations. And those operations, we're doing things like building a behavioral risk assessment program that we're going to be able to take out and make available to all schools in the state so they can focus on preventative measures. How do you identify this kid or this individual in your community that's potentially going to be your active shooter or your radicalized ISIS terrorist or something like that, and putting those programs together. So we're doing some things like that with that money that will benefit all schools in the state of Missouri, both public and private.
Okay, great.
And I think that actually brought something up for me too, is that we've been focused a lot on building improvements or things like that. I think we also have to look at, there's a whole nother aspect of what are we providing for our students inside, such as school social workers, school psychologists, different things like that. So when we're thinking safety, sometimes we automatically go to building or facility, implementation. But we also need to look, at a 360, and that's something we stress on the other side of issues in education, is a 360 view of coming at this from not just a building facility or a crisis management plan, but what can we actually put in place to be proactive in the form of staff and finding those resources through different means and different things like that, different partnerships in the community.
Okay. Also, Robert, and this comes from the superintendent's side. Law enforcement can't do very much with this, but many communities will support bond issues for safety. And school should not be hesitant if they've got major safety issues. It's not cheap, as Dennis said, but it's not that much money either. If you're just talking about a bond issue to do something in your front entrance to make your lobby like it needs to be, a few pennies on a lot of districts will get that done, and they shouldn't be hesitant, because I know that many communities, when it comes down to a few pennies versus being their children safe, that they would vote yes on that.
Good point. That's a great point. I wonder also, does IASA or MSBA, do they have conference programs? Is there a way that you educate your school districts as to how do you go about requesting funds and those types of things? Is that part of your spring conference, or?
Well, we regularly do that throughout the year in different training opportunities that we have, both on how to utilize your existing dollars and how to request additional, whether it's through grants or through bond measures. But yeah.
And we've even had sessions we have a safety conference in the state of Missouri, and we've had sessions where we brought in outside experts trying to educate school staff on how do you get not only grants, but going to approaching foundations and other things like that to get some money to do your safety and security needs.
Okay.
And so we've had things like that in the past.
Great.
We have a joint conference each year with the school administrators, and we always have a strand on school finance generally, but that'll go to your bonding questions and your tax referenda and those types of things. This year, however, we are looking to have a specific strand on school safety. So we're looking at maybe a pre-conference workshop and then strand of panels over the 2 or 3 days of our conference.
Good, okay.